Hello.
Hey, Jerry, it's Monk.
How you doing?
Good. How you doing?
Yeah, I got a call from my guy in England a couple hours ago, and he says it's okay. So as soon as my kids get back from the wedding today, they'll be back next week. I'll have them crank out some copies.
Terrific. All right, thank you. I've got over 300 documents on Barry Seal.
Uh-huh.
Okay. I don't know how many, if any, you've seen. Have you seen any on him before?
No.
None. Okay. I've got over 300. So I'll set about making copies here and then get them off as soon as I can.
Okay.
These are FBI, DEA documents for the most part.
Alrighty.
Okay, and then if I could, I wanted to ask you real point blank 4 specific questions, just in an inquiry here that I'm working on, and see if you have any take on it. Do you have any time for that for a second here? Hello?
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, okay. The first one was...
I should switch over to my headset. I was on the phone to London for an hour.
Oh, yeah.
My ear got sore.
Okay. The first question is, who put the contract out on Connolly, the separate contract?
Somebody in Texas.
Okay. Somebody in Texas with a name that you're not comfortable mentioning, or you don't?
Not sure of them, so we don't mention
okay.
name. We're not really sure.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes a name slips out and
Yep.
tips off other people to shut up or
Yep.
or whatever.
Gotcha. Okay. Second question is...
We like to work with the basis that these people don't even suspect anybody's looking at them.
I understand. Okay. Second question is, were there protesters going to do like a demonstration with signs, presumably, picket signs, or not maybe pickets, but signs, whatever, in Miami on November 1863 during the motorcade route that was canceled, to your knowledge, or even at the airport?
No.
Okay. And is that a definite no, or no?
There's nobody there in protest of Kennedy at all.
Okay.
There's
Okay.
nothing to bitch about.
Well, not so much protesting Kennedy as much as maybe...
There's only a protesting group in the area where there's people that were going to march. They were going to sail to Havana and march to Guantanamo to protest.
Mm-hmm.
That group was infiltrated by one of our guys, Eddie Collins, who then accidentally drowned off of one of their boats.
Mm-hmm.
He was working for the FBI at the time.
Okay. I guess the nature of...
That's the one Weberman says I killed.
Oh, I see. Okay. Okay. Sort of the nature of the question, because I might not have phrased it very well, would be more like this. Not so much an anti-Kennedy demonstration. Well, wait, is there just wasn't one of any kind?
There's nobody of interest in protesting anything in Miami then.
Okay, that's what I was asking. Okay.
Nothing was bothering them.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, third question. Why was the motorcade changed to a helicopter on the 18th?
Because they got a tip about problems along the way.
Nothing specific.
No.
Okay.
Nobody will say where they got the information from.
Mm-hmm.
We were surprised when we heard a rumor of it.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point in time, having never taken these proposals seriously, we didn't take it serious.
Mm-hmm. And that would have been the Secret Service that got the tip, apparently.
No.
FBI?
Dade County Police.
Dade County Police.
Sheriff's Department under Sheriff Kelly.
Okay. So he took the action to alert the Secret Service? Or he just said...
No, I think he called the governor.
Uh-huh.
And I think the governor called Kenny O'Donnell.
Okay.
That's the only word I got.
Okay. And so then Kenny O'Donnell would have been the one who changed it. So this really, the Secret Service should have been right up on that if, in fact, it was a real thing, even if it wasn't. And they weren't.
Yeah, they weren't up on anything in Miami.
And when you say not up on it, they didn't know.
Yeah, they didn't even want to know.
They didn't want to know, or they just weren't given the info?
The word we got is they didn't want to hear any of this shit.
Okay.
Just the same thing that happened in 1970 when we uncovered the plot against Nixon compound on the Key Biscayne.
Okay.
It embarrasses the shit out of these people that they are being informed of something that they're paid to know. And that they don't know. They're being told by everybody that they've got it covered. Like in 1970, CIA says, we got it covered. We got our guy in there. It's being monitored. Don't worry. Protective Research in Miami, Gasquez was totally pissed off because he didn't like CIA telling him to back off. So it was covered by them because it was his goddamn job.
Okay. Okay, and last thing here for right now anyway.
We're involved in a number of cases where we've stopped hits. I don't go into that because people are still out and around and busy. They haven't retired yet.
You told me that you thought you were, or you're certain anyway. You
were hit on the president of Costa Rica. You know about that. And where they're going to blow up the Costa Rican Congress building session. Well, they were based in Guatemala. Put the stop to that. Pissed a lot of people off.
And you were telling me before that you're certain that you were going to be a patsy more than likely if something...
We've been left dead and bleeding on the tarmac right at the foot of the stairs to Air Force One.
When did you come to that conclusion? Was it the same day?
It hits you in the head. Just, well, the thing is going down. It just doesn't smell right. I've always had a little bit of PC.
But when did it come to you that day?
Yeah.
That's
why I told the guys not to go armed.
Right.
Something was wrong.
Okay.
I didn't believe Davis because he changed his story from Santana and got over to mentioning Bayou, and wanted to know how the hell he knew about the Bayou operation. He wasn't supposed to know that shit.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with that.
So-called Operation Red Cross.
I'm not familiar.
Bill Pauley took a commando team in with Rip Robertson and Lynch and Dick Billings on board and John Martino on the Flying Tiger 2 and dropped off Eduardo Perez, a.k.a. Bayou, and a commando team. And they were going to bring some Soviet defectors out. That were Soviet artillerymen that could talk about what was left behind in the Oriente area, which were cruise missiles that had nuclear warheads on them.
In Cuba?
Yeah. We had some congressmen and a bunch of other people, and later Ted Shackley, J.M. Wave, did a cover-your-ass memorandum to just say, well, there's this businessman, Bill Pauley, in Dallas. I said, businessman? He's the guy that created the Flying Tigers. He's the guy that originated the Bay of Pigs. He was ambassador to Peru and Bolivia. He's not some businessman. The guy was a first-class operator. And he owned the bus system in Havana and part of the railroads all over Cuba. And the bus system in Miami, which he sold to the county.
Did you know this is a weird, kind of strange question in a way. Did you know that JFK was going to get hit? I'm not saying when, by who, and where exactly, but because of the approaches.
We couldn't believe anybody would be that goddamn stupid. We couldn't fathom who, you know. We figured we're dealing with nuts that are always running off at the mouth saying things like these militia assholes today. And you hear it, and it's like with the anti-abortion people. You hear it, and it's not until the first couple of shootings you just take the people serious. You just can't believe that these kind of assholes are capable of doing it. They're searching far and wide for people to hit Fidel, can't find anybody, multiple failures, can't figure out why it's failing. And we are against it completely 100%, you know. And they were having, you can see how much trouble they're having all over the world trying to recruit assassin teams. They're just not laying around. And the ones that the what I call semi-pros, because we had people that today are like Delta qualified, Fort Bragg Delta Force. Okay, you're a pilot, you shoot master scores at Camp Perry every year, you're a professional sniper, you're a mechanic, you're a truck driver, you're a construction worker, you can drive anything, fix anything, you know, the whole thing, which didn't exist. Even the SEAL team people that had existed just for a year in '63 didn't qualify as much as the people that we operated with and our own people. If you didn't have these kind of skills, you weren't around. And the foreign language skills. You had to be able to do any goddamn thing that came up. Be able to pose as anybody. And bullshit your way out of anything or into anything. They want to debrief when they come out of Cuba. They wanted to know how they could get into particular buildings where Fidel would be at Che or somebody from time to time, and I showed them how to bluff your way in without having any problems.
What about Paul Greco? Does that ring a bell? No. Okay. Somebody emailed me something about Paul Greco. I'd never heard of him either.
I've heard of a Greco that's spelled Griecco, but it doesn't fit in anymore.
Yeah.
The guy from London called just as the phone was ringing. Movie Channel here was putting on the Manchurian Candidate. Ironic.
Is that right? Yeah. Can you hang on a second? Let me grab this, okay? Okay, back. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that wouldn't fit in at all there. And I know I'm missing something here that I was going to ask you. Oh, I know what it is. Have you heard this phrase? And a bug for a schmuck.
Bug for a schmuck.
A bug for a schmuck.
No.
I relate it to...
Very few people use the word schmuck except over in Miami Beach.
Or up in... Yeah, well, Chicago, New York, too. I mean, depends on the Jewish community.
Yeah.
It's Yiddish. What came to mind for me was Bugsy Siegel.
People hesitate to use the word because they don't want to be identified as a Jew. When you're in these areas where the accent is different, the customs are different, you might even suffer a little cultural shock. You're careful with your language.
Right.
Make sure you're saying the same words they use for the same thing.
Right.
Or you're an outsider.
Right.
Quick.
Right.
Or they get pissed off because you're talking over their head.
Well, a bug for a schmuck somehow brought to mind Bugsy Siegel to me, and it's the closest thing that I could relate to it. And I know I asked that question very much out of context because you don't know what I'm talking about in a sense.
If you like Bugsy Siegel and Meyer Lansky or something.
Well, I mean, it's a Yiddish word, and I know Benjamin Siegel did not consider Bugsy.
He used Italian words.
And he didn't like being called Bugsy.
Hell no.
Yeah, he didn't like being called Bugsy, so there was a reason for that question. I didn't know if you'd heard that.
Yeah, it wasn't. It's like some of the aliases for the Guidos. They're not used in front of them.
Right.
Face.
Right. Yeah.
It's like Giancana didn't like Momo.
Right. He liked Mooney.
Yeah.
Right. Mooney. Everyone still refers to him as Momo. Okay, well, thank you for answering what you answered, because I was trying to just sort some stuff out here, and I'll get these documents printed up here. And
I think the post office things has one in two pound packages for a couple bucks or something.
Yeah, Yeah, I'll either do it that way, or I might even do it FedEx like I did before. It's just, you know, it's not that much, and they, you know, they get it there quick and all that. So one way or the other, but probably it'll be like, you know, beginning to middle of next week when you get it. So
I'm just getting into this book. Joan Mellon sent me this. Patricia Lambert wrote a book about an anti-Garrison.
Oh, I know.
False witness.
That he was a child molester and all that crap.
I don't know. I'm just starting to go through it now. I've been working with her for over a year.
Well, that's what one of the big things in that book is about, you know, him being some kind of a child molester. It's a bunch of crap, you know. I'm not talking about Mellon.
Well, there's a fairly short list of expletives that you can lay on people that instantly are remembered by people and are very effective.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And it's just it just hits them right between the eyes.
Well, I know a guy, you know, that is still in New Orleans and lived there, you know, all throughout the 50s and 60s and whatnot, and he recalls that entire incident that is referred to in that book very well. And he said that well, Gary Mack, for instance, was going on and on about, you know, Garrison being a child molester, you know, in his attempt to discount Garrison's entire investigation, and everything that Garrison ever did is obviously flawed and wrong.
I talked to Gary Mack a few times. I met him when we were in Dallas. I wasn't really sure where he was coming from.
Well, you know, I mean, the guy has gone 180 degrees. You know, he went from somebody who pretty much seemed to be on the up and up on the thing and trying to get to the truth. He has completely turned 180 degrees. He hooked up with a guy named Dave Perry, and between the two of them, Gary Mack is now somebody who is a Warren Commission apologist. He will just argue till he turns blue in the face, the most illogical stuff that you can possibly imagine in order to obfuscate this more. You know, the signature of disinformation, once you know how to recognize it, is not hard.
Like Posner upsetting a lot of people. They don't understand that the intelligence community puts about 30 guys together, and it's like a small newspaper, and they put out a book real quick. There ain't no way in hell. I know how long it took Gus Russo to do his thing, and how much work went into the thing. And there ain't no way in hell Posner was operating as a solo doing the thing. And a lot of it isn't his stuff at all.
Yeah.
You can pick up somebody's style,
right?
And you can see where he's not plagiarizing, but it's him talking. It's not him writing.
Right. Yeah, I mean, Max just is. I don't know. You know. I don't know anything about where he came from. I mean, I know the official stuff, you know, but I don't know.
That's like George Lardner, you know.
Right.
He had his personal family tragedies and all that kind of stuff. And it's just that Lardner was on the company payroll, and it's just too late in life to change.
Yeah, as Oliver Stone called George Woolf, the sage of Bethesda. I really liked that. But anyway, yeah, so, you know, Mac was going on and on about this, about Garrison being that. But the person that I know that knew the situation, who is not a Garrison fan, by the way, I mean, this person's not anti-Garrison, but he didn't think that Garrison did a good job on the Shaw trial and whatever, and I respect, you know, that's his honest opinion and whatever. But what
like Lou Ivan,
but what he
was right there, and he didn't say all favorable things about Garrison.
Right.
He was very, very frank and candid.
Right. Well, and that gives some credibility to me, also to the person, because
the guy's risking his job saying the shit.
Right. And what Lamar has come right out and said, you know, he said, you know, even though I'm not a Garrison fan and I don't think he did this and that and the other, and I don't even know whether Shaw had anything to do with any of this, what I do know is, Mac, you know, the story that you're perpetuating from that damn book about Garrison having, you know, some weird, you know, child molestation thing is complete crap, because I knew the kid's father, that this, you know, that is supposedly the person involved in this, and all of it was, none of it had any substance whatsoever. There just was nothing to it. I was there, I know, and I'm not even a Garrison fan, but I can't let you keep saying that. And for Christ's sake, you know, the guy just kept on and on and on and on. You can find it all over the internet, you know.
Yeah, I dealt with some people that during the Shaw case where I reminded them that I told Garrison in a phone call, look, you're probably looking at either a frustrated plan or more patsies.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to find professionals associating with people like Shaw.
Mm-hmm.
Shaw, with all the money in the world, couldn't put a Cub Scout troop together.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And if you find those people floating around like Sturgis and company on the Watergate thing, they're pure patsies.
Mm-hmm.
They are just forever patsies.
Mm-hmm.
And I talked to Fat Daddy Frank, as we called him, Frank Fiorini, a.k.a.
Sturgis.
About the Watergate thing on numerous occasions, and he was just totally pissed off from day one that it was a setup.
Mm-hmm.
But he was never going to say it in public.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They'd been had.
Yeah. Yeah, Ben Bradley, you know, was...
What people fail to understand is White House tapes, like they're talking about reconstructing the 18 and a half minutes and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody was listening to those tapes every day.
Absolutely.
I mean, day to day to day,
Mm-hmm.
people, NSA and others that knew what was being said in the White House. There was a specialty team. Later on, the Yeoman case and the Admiral case and all that kind of stuff that came out. That's how it works.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this myth that even LBJ, when he set up his recording...
Especially with Nixon and his mental problems.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's a myth to believe that the president has the ability to push a button when he wants to be recorded and to push a button when he doesn't want to be. Everything he is saying on the phone is being recorded. And a lot of people...
sound activated.
I'm sorry, yes. Yeah, it has nothing to do with whether he wants to record or not. And I mean, he may think that he has control of it, but that's not the reality.
No.
It's not.
Well, it's like Seth Johnson had a switch and all that kind of stuff. That was bullshit.
Right. I mean, they may have put a switch there for to make him feel better.
Keep him happy.
That's right. That's right.
It just let a lot of people know about a lot of things that they weren't supposed to know.
Mm-hmm. I got invited
to...
to...
what a secure phone is. I couldn't tell the Cleveland mob what a goddamn secure phone was.
Mm-hmm.
I'm running around payphone to payphone and all kinds of shit, and these assholes are always sitting in some social club talking on a hot phone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You got to keep going.
Well, I'm doing my job, and I'm also doing exotic favors for the Bureau and everybody else. It pisses me off. They're getting a free ride.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. 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 I got invited to the November in Dallas conference to be a presenter, and in a Conway and Jim Fetzer invited me, and
I'll get it videotaped.
Yeah.
I just got a copy sent to me a few days ago. One of my researchers on the one where I made a presentation in Dallas a few years ago. I'd never seen it.
Get them off as soon as I can.
Okay.
These are FBI, DEA documents for the most part.
Alrighty.
Okay, and then, if I could, I wanted to ask you real point blank 4 specific questions, just in an inquiry here that I'm working on, and see if you have any take on it. Do you have any time for that for a second here? Hello?
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, okay. The first one was...
wedding today. They'll be back next week. I'll have them crank out some copies.
Terrific. All right, thank you. I've got over 300 documents on Barry Seal.
Uh-huh.
Okay. I don't know how many, if any, you've seen. Have you seen any on him before?
No.
None. Okay. I've got over 300. So I'll set about making copies here, and then...
Hello.
Hey, Gerry, it's Monk.
How you doing?
Good. How you doing?
Yeah, I got a call from my guy in England a couple hours ago, and he says it's okay. So as soon as my kids get back from his name slips out and
Yep.
tips off other people to shut up or
Yep.
or whatever.
Gotcha. Okay. Second question is...
We like to work with the basis that these people don't even suspect anybody's looking at them.
I understand. Okay. Second question is, were there protesters going to do like a demonstration with signs, presumably, picket signs, or not maybe...
Over to my headset. I was on the phone to London for an hour.
Oh, yeah.
My ear got sore.
Okay. The first question is, who put the contract out on Connolly, the separate contract?
Somebody in Texas.
Okay. Somebody in Texas with a name that you're not comfortable mentioning, or you don't...
Not sure of them, so we don't mention
Okay.
name. We're not really sure.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes